Hello, my dwarfish friend, says the elf, in neglected clothes, as he walks up to Sorna, slowly, methodically. What would bring you to my village? Welcome back to Profi Plays. I'm Profi, and this is episode 2 of the story of Sorna, which we are playing in Shadow Dark. So, what happened last time was Sorna had been a fighter for the Lord of Akesh in his castle, but was released from service to go and explore the world, as has been his dream for quite some time. Something he did for a while back when he was a minstrel, but then he settled down into the service of Lord of Akesh for reasons that were not, I don't think, entirely clear. Um, Maybe I established them and forgot them. That's also possible. In any case, but as he was leaving, he did hear a rumor about a hall of golden statues underneath an abbey several miles away. So he's currently on his way toward that abbey. So he has stopped off here in a small village. The village is named actually Giant River, kind of an interesting name because I don't think there's actually a river here. But in any case, right, as he just walked into town, as we just heard, he has encountered an elf. Based on this reaction roll, the elf is somewhat suspicious of him, but not immediately hostile. So that is where we're picking things up. So the question that I now have is um, how Sarno is going to react to the situation. Because he walked into town, right? He is um, I guess, met right by this elf, okay, who wants to know kind of, okay, why is he in town? Well, I think the answer is obvious. So he's going to try to, and he has kind of more of a charming personality, so that's definitely the approach that he's going to take. He is going to try to convince, right, the elf that he is really just here, really for a place to stay. And that's really the thing that he wants, I think, at this point. Right, so he really wants just to know that he's in a safe place. Now, I think technically, if I move things around here, if we look at what his path is right now we are at, let's see, all right. So based on our travel rules, we can travel basically 3 hexes within any particular, it's basically a quarter day, right? So he started out here at the castle where Lord Vakesh is, right up here, right, and then has traveled straight south, one, two, three, right here, and here we are in the hills in this little village, the village of Giant River. Right now, his ultimate goal, right, as far as I can tell, is to get over to here. Right, so it's going to take a couple more trips to get here. And remember, he doesn't want to be caught out in the open because it would be really bad for him because he barely has enough torches to make it through the night. Right, so that'd be a problem because he doesn't have very little money at this point. Right, so he really wants to have safe places to stay. Now, in terms of time, right now where we are in the timeline, I believe that he left in the morning, so we are currently at midday. Let me double check that just to make sure. Yep, yep. So he spent the morning traveling to the village, so he's currently at midday. So the question is, like, whether they are going to let him stay here. Right now, I think because I want to add things for him to do. But rather than just have him roll charisma to see if he can convince the elf to let him stay, I think the elf is willing to, but there's a price. Right? And that price is this. Right, so he's rolling up a little bit about the leader of this village. So this village is headed by bandits, so this poorly dressed elf is actually a thief by trade or whatever. And he has a special trinket, a keepsake of some kind that was apparently very important to him. And what I have rolled, right, is that this keepsake was stolen, right, by some level 1 creature. That is what I decided. So I think that what's going to happen, right, is that so the conversation happens between Sarno and this elf. Now, I assume we'll probably find out the elf's name Right, I know the name, right? But Sarno doesn't immediately know that you don't know. It's not like people are wearing name tags or something, right? So he does find out the leader here is named Prestiel, and Prestiel really wants somebody to go in to recover this keepsake of his. Right now, exactly what the keepsake is, I don't know. We're gonna have to roll on the treasure table to find out. We'll also want to roll on the monster table to find out what kind of monster it is, right, that has stolen this thing. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that while I'm thinking about it. Right, so what kind of treasure is it that was stolen? So flip back here to my treasure table. It was a 62, a light, warm cloak woven of spider silk. Oh, that's kind of nice. Right, so it's a spider silk cloak. Which I'm just gonna ask the Oracle here, right? So, like, why would this matter so much, right, to Prestiel? So, my best guess is this probably is a family heirloom. Is that what it is? A 17 would indicate that's a yes. Okay, so yes, it's some kind of family heirloom here. I have a bit of a cold, so I'm sniffling. All right, so so we've learned that this cloak was stolen. What stole it though? Right, so let me pull out my monster table. Right, so I made a monster table that includes all the monsters that are in the Solid Art Quick Start, and divides them up according to um, likely terrains. Right, so we're currently in the hills. I'm going to treat the hills as if they are a grassland rather than a mountain because I don't think they're quite mountainous. So if we're dealing with level one. I have four options. Right, so let's go ahead and roll a d4. Right, and then I'll just count down. See what it would get stolen. One. It's a goblin. All right. So some goblin came and stole this cloak. And now it is up to Sarno to recover it if he wants a place to spend the night. So I think that that's what's going to be happening here. I'm just going to get a quick note here that this is midday. So this is episode 2, midday. He's going to midday. He's going to recover the stolen cloak for Prestiel. That is his task at the moment. And recovered, oh yes, from the goblin. Alright, so we are in the hills here. Okay. Alright, so I imagine and it makes sense to me that he probably has some rough idea of the direction that he should go. That is something that Prestiel would communicate to him. Right, so he's going to go out and he's going to see if he can find this goblin. Now, the thing about goblins is that you cannot surprise them. So the question is, now I'm just going to make the assumption they're going to find each other because otherwise there's not much of a story. All right. So I want to find out, right, whether Sarno is surprised by the goblin. That is an important question. Right, so let's go ahead and check that. So it's going to do a wisdom roll. I'll say it's a difficulty of 12. Let's see, and it's 6 plus 0. That's a 6. So that would indicate that he would be surprised. So the goblin has the chance, right, to act first. So I want to know what the goblin's reaction is going to be. I'm going to assume, right, because the goblin gets the first move, he's probably not going to be too happy. So he's probably going to be, at the very least, he's going to be suspicious. But he might possibly just be straight up hostile. So that's a question for me. When I read about goblins, I think the goblins by alignment are chaotic. Yeah, so that's that's not great for us. All right, so I guess sure. Let's just say that it's likely. So does the goblin just like straight up attack, sort of like from behind, that kind of thing? Right. Oh, well, yes, that's a yes. Right, so the Oracle, I rolled it as likely, so we're gonna use the high result. They're both a 16, right? So that'd be a yes. So Sarno, we begin by Sarno being attacked. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll this. The Goblin has an attack. Okay, that's a question. Does the Goblin have a club or short bow? So is it a club? No. All right, so he's a short bow. So he's actually attacking from a distance, which that's gonna be really bad for us. If he can hit, this is not good. All right, so he attacks at a +1. All right, and we have an AC of 10. All right, fortunately he misses. Right, so Sarno is searching, and from behind him, right, crossbow bolt, right, like past Sarno's ear, misses, but that was too close for comfort, right? So I think that at this point Sarno is going to try and um, get to the goblin. Now I think it makes sense. He's not going to be able to get there and hit him this turn. It's going to at least take a turn of him like running towards him. I think that makes some degree of sense. Like, can he get there in one turn though? I hope so. Otherwise, we might be in serious trouble. But let's go ahead and roll that. Say that it's likely. Yes, he can get there in one turn because I got 18. 18 is a plain yes. All right, so he can get there in one turn. So we're going to spend the turn running, and then the goblin is going to make another attack. Goblin makes another attack, again, aiming for a 10 and hits. And that's not good. This would be a d4 of damage. It's actually, there we go. So it's a 2 was what was rolled. Okay. And something, a d4 doesn't show up very well when you're shooting from above, does it? In any case, there's a 2 points of damage, so we are down to 5. This is not fantastic at all. All right. 5. Okay. Now, Sarno is going to attack. Okay, and he's attacking with his mace. So he moves the rest of the way. He manages to get to the goblin. They're now, like, in close enough combat that melee is what could be relevant. And we have a 17. 17 plus 2 is 19. That definitely beats the AC of 11. So he manages to whack this goblin fairly good with his mace for a d6 worth of damage. Uh, and D6, this, and also Mace is not his specialty. So 5 points of damage, though, that would be enough to kill the goblin. That's enough. Okay, this turned out way better than I expected. Okay, so I mean, I assume then the goblin does in fact have this cloak, which we just acquired, which is fantastic, right? So grab the XP for that before I forget. And there we go. All right. So we take this cloak. So the question is, I don't, knowing Sarno, I don't think he's actually going to kill the goblin because you do have the choice, right? At least I would rule you have the choice, right, to be somewhat merciful, right? So he could kill the goblin. Instead, he just knocks him out and just takes the stuff that he needs. I think that makes some degree of sense, right? So he takes this cloak. He heads back to Prestiel at the village of Giant River, where there is no river, which I love that. I kind of love that. So he goes back to Giant River. He presents Prestiel with a cloak. Now at this point, I think it makes sense, right, that Prestiel would offer some kind of reward. Now I think just to keep it simple, he's going to offer, say, 1d20 gold pieces. So we'll just find out. It's just a matter of chance. So how much does Sarno get paid for this? 5. 5 gold pieces. That's not terrible, I suppose, right? So the question is that 5 gold pieces enough, right, for him to actually buy anything of value? Um, because right now, remember, Sarno is a fighter um, by class, which means he could wear armor. The problem is he doesn't actually have any armor because he couldn't afford it. Similarly, he has a very good skill with a great axe, but he doesn't have money. He didn't have money for a great axe, so he does have a mace, however. So I think what we're going to do, this makes some degree of sense. Okay, Um, because I'm pretty sure, I'm going to double check. I think that this village, when I rolled it up, it does have a blacksmith here. So it would make sense, right, that there would be someone here that would be willing, that you could engage in some trade here, right? All right. So I'm just going to be kind to Sarno here and say that let's see. In this village, there is a blacksmith, there's a market, a tavern, a well. There's also a butcher here. All right. So that's fine. So I think what he's going to do, he's going to trade in his mace, right, for a great axe. And a great axe I know takes 2 slots, I believe. Great axe, 2 slots, yes. But that's fine. He's plenty strong. Right, so he sells his mace and gets a great axe instead, which is awesome because that is his weapon mastery. Right, so the great axe, he's going to be rolling not at a +2 anymore, but a +3, which is awesome. And the great axe does either 1d8 or 1d10, and whether you're wielding it one or two-handed. And he also is going to get a +1 damage with that, again because of weapon mastery. Okay, that's very good. That's very good. I think that's I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. All right, cool. Right, so we did manage to do a little bit of not leveling up in the strict sense, but we did at least upgrade a bit. Okay. So now we're heading toward evening. So I think it makes sense here that we're going to try to stay here in this village overnight. Right, so I think that that's what we want. Since we are here, we're resting in a safe place. So I'm going to go ahead and use a ration, right, to heal up to my 7 HP. Wonderful. Right, so evening and night we stay there, and then the next day we set off again, right, toward our next destination. So I'm just going to say evening, night, stay here, right? Then the next morning, so we're going to be traveling again. Okay, right. So, pull out my travel rules, Shadows of the Wild. There we are. Right. And let's head out. All right. So remember, we can travel. We're right here. We can travel up to 3. I don't think I'm going to travel the full 3, right? Because the problem is, we go 1, 2, 3. Well, I don't want to end up just in the middle of nowhere. Nor do I want to end up in a lair. Uh, Again, that'd be kind of middle of nowhere. Um, Here, middle of nowhere. Yeah. So, I mean, for me trying to get where I want to go, I'm probably better off just traveling the 2 hexes, ending at this abbey that's in the forest here. I think that is what makes the most sense. Okay, but before we do that, we have to travel. So hiking here, the hike activity, it's used to traverse 1 or more hexes. Now, this is a 6-mile hex. I have 2-mile hexes on my map. So again, I can travel up to 3. Now I'm going to specifically be leading the way since I'm traveling alone. So I need to make an intelligence roll. It's a DC 12 per travel round spent hiking. Um, if we fail, we do not make progress or leave the current hex. We're just kind of wandering around in circles. So, and his intelligence ain't good. So, he has to get kind of lucky to leave, honestly. All right. So, let's do it. Now, I did actually decide a while back that it might make sense for him to have advantage on these rolls because he was a traveling minstrel for a while. So I think I'm going to give him the advantage on that one. All right, and the maximum here is a 14. 14 minus 2 is 12. That's exactly what I needed. So he can manage to move if he so wishes, and he does, right? So we're going to move out of the village here, and we're going to move 1, 2 into B8, the B8 Abbey. And I think that is where we're going to stop for now. So, next time we'll be picking up with Sarno in the Abbey here, on his way, trying to get to the Abbey that has the Hall of Golden Statues, but we have somewhere else to stop first. So until next time, this is Prof E signing off.